Hello, my name is Ralph Lowe. I am the Director of Justice Ministries here at the Pittsburgh Presbyterian. I am here with...
And my name is Brian Moss. I'm the Associate Minister here at Pittsburgh Presbyterian.
And this is Awareness and Transformation, conversations about race, faith, and life. Now, Brian, I think we have broached a lot. I know we have broached a lot of topics over the past few weeks.
We have, indeed.
In our conversations, from racist to anti-racist, to bias, implicit bias, unconscious bias, and a few other topics. And I think in our conversations over this past week, we've acknowledged that the next few topics we have are going to be tough.
Yes, more challenging.
More challenging, less palatable for maybe for some of us, some of you listening. So we acknowledge that. And we also acknowledge we're going to get it wrong sometimes in our conversation, authentic conversation. So the most important part of this is that you have the conversations and be willing to sit and have them and move forward as a Christian response. That being said, Brian, as a response to, I believe our second conversation was about racist and anti-racist.
Yeah, anti-racist.
A little bit of pushback that I got was, if I'm called a racist because of what I think and what I say and what I do, then what about reverse racism?
Reverse racism.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Brian, you and I spoke, and I think you want to share your experience.
Yeah, so I think the first time that I ever actually really thought about the idea of there being quote unquote reverse racism was when I was in college. I was studying the natural sciences and was applying to research programs and on PhD applications and things like that. Everything said women and minorities encouraged to apply, right? And there were just a couple cases, and again, the cases I saw were mainly women, where I knew their grades, I knew their qualifications, and I saw them get into programs that I saw other peers who were white men not get into.
Sure.
Despite on paper, to be very clear, on paper, the qualifications of the white male were better.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, for me, I think what was critical was that I noticed it, and that summer I ended up in my first choice of program, so it didn't really cross my, I just noticed it. That was the first time I had encountered it and kind of seen it. It didn't really directly impact me, but I just remember thinking, that's interesting. Interesting.
So what I'm hearing you say is while it didn't directly impact you, someone may have the feeling of European descent that I did not get this because of the color of my skin or because of my gender.
Yeah. And we know that's out there. I mean, there have been Supreme Court cases over admission standards and things like that, affirmative action. So like my reaction of, that's interesting, is not unique to me. And there are people who have much stronger reactions who say, look, I've been the victim of reverse racism.
So I think what we should talk about in our longer segment, Brian, is two things. Talk about if that is reverse racism, right? And in that answering of that question, where that question derives from. Why are we saying this statement? Why are we actually calling out or implying that it is reverse racism? And if it's okay with you, B, because we've had a couple conversations. I'd like to talk about power when it comes to that as well. Because I know we're going to talk a lot about your experience and where you've come from and where you are today. So I didn't want to put anything on that outside of the things we've talked about already. So I think that's what we'll do in our longer segment, if that's agreeable. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. All right.